all of the video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do. And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that law enforcement operation?
And when you show up to an active crime scene, don't leave the crime scene, and you're armed, then, you've got the decision-making process for that individual doesn't seem to be very good.
You are about to watch ICE Commander Greg Bovino tell CNN's Dana Bash that what you see on video cannot be trusted during questioning over a Minneapolis killing, and it is pure gaslighting. So let's watch this madness unravel.
Here with me now is U.S. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino. Thank you for being here. Sir, you are still in Minneapolis, and I want to get to a lot of questions that we have that are unanswered. First and foremost is that Alex Pretti approached Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. I want to go back to one of the videos, and I know you can see it there, and I want to ask you about what you're seeing, because multiple angles of this incident show him holding up a cell phone and recording it, not a gun. Did he at any point pull out his weapon?
Dana, good morning, and thanks for having me. The weapon, and we do know that the suspect did bring a weapon, a loaded 9mm high-capacity handgun, to a riot. We do know that. As far as what happened in that intervening moment with the video that you just showed, that's going to come to light through the investigation. That's being investigated, and those facts and those questions will be answered soon enough.
Okay, but the Homeland Security Secretary is not waiting for that investigation to take place before saying that Alex Pretti was, quote, brandishing a weapon. Let's go to video 7, because, of course, you know this far better than I. The definition of brandishing is waving or flourishing something, especially a weapon, as a threat or in anger and excitement. That's just a still photo of what Alex Pretti appears to be holding. There is nothing that we have seen that showed him, as Secretary Noem said, brandishing a weapon. Have you, sir, seen something different to support what the Secretary said?
Dan, I think what we need to take a look at here is the situation in its totality. What happened leading up to this situation? The suspect decided to inject himself into a law enforcement action. What's not being said here is the fact that Border Patrol agents and law enforcement were conducting a targeted law enforcement effort against a violent, illegal alien that was nearby, and that suspect injected himself into that law enforcement situation with a weapon. And what happened between when that situation first came about and the shooting, that's going to be investigated, and we're going to get to the facts of that.
Well, you said yesterday that this looks like a situation where the individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. What evidence do you have that he wanted to massacre law enforcement? Because all the videos that we have, and I do want to, we just have a still shot up now, but I do, control room, want to play one of the other videos. Let's play video number 1 again. It doesn't look anything like he's trying to massacre law enforcement. In fact, he was filming, and then it looked like he was trying to help another individual there who was pushed down by law enforcement, and then they went after him.
In fact, I believe that the fantastic training that our law enforcement partners have, the fact that they're highly trained, prevented any specific shootings of law enforcement. So good job for our law enforcement in taking him down before he was able to do that. And again, was he simply walking by and just happened to walk into a law enforcement situation and try to direct traffic and stand in the middle of the road and then assault, delay, and obstruct law enforcement? Or was he there for a reason? Did he fall victim to that violent and heated rhetoric by a Mayor Fry, a Governor Waltz. Look, Dana, they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words. Did this individual fall victim, as many others have, to that type of heated rhetoric?
I want to stay focused on this incident right now, because what you were saying is that he went there to try to stop this law enforcement operation. All of the video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do. And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that law enforcement operation?
Sure, Dana, first he was there in the scene. He was in the scene actively impeding and assaulting law enforcement to the point.
But that's not illegal. He wasn't
Dana,
impeding it. He was filming it, which is a legal thing to do in the United States of America.
Dana, let's don't freeze frame adjudicate this now. He was there for a reason, and that reason was to impede law enforcement to the point.
What evidence do you have of that?
And here's a good point, Dana, is
I want to go back to the gun, sir, because I think this is really, really critical. You can see an agent, and I just want to go to, let's see here, video 5. You can see a screenshot of an agent in a green jacket approach Pretti, and then he appeared to take a gun away. When the agent took the gun away, which it seems as though it was Pretti's gun, that happened before Pretti was shot. Why was an unarmed man shot multiple times by law enforcement, by your Border Patrol agents?
Dana, you don't know he was unarmed. I don't know he was unarmed. That's freeze frame adjudication of a crime scene via a photo. That's why we have investigators. That's why we have an investigation that is going to answer those questions. How many shots were fired? Who fired shots? Where was the guns? Where were the guns located? All those questions are going to be answered.
I think you can see the screen.
In the investigation. We're not going to adjudicate that here on TV in one freeze frame there.
Okay, it's not a freeze frame. We're showing a video of one of your agents taking the gun away, and that happened before Pretti was shot.
We don't know that agent was taking any gun away. That could have been the agent's, because we don't know that. The facts are going to come to light.
So you're disputing the video, that that's what happened?
With an investigation. That's why we investigate.
Well, with respect, you say that's why we investigate, but you're also drawing other conclusions that sort of fly in the face of waiting for an investigation. I just want to, both the police chief in Minneapolis, O'Hara, and Governor Walz say Pretti was legally licensed to carry a concealed weapon. So are you saying it's not okay for him to exercise his Second Amendment right, not to mention his First Amendment right to be there in the first place, but his Second Amendment right to carry a gun? And if you do, you can be shot by federal law enforcement?
No, I didn't say that, Dana. I never said that. What I'm saying is we respect that Second Amendment right, but those rights don't count when you riot and assault, delay, obstruct, and impede law enforcement officers, and most especially when you mean to do that beforehand.
How do you know that?
When you mean to do that beforehand, when you show up to an active crime scene, don't leave the crime scene, and you're armed, then you've got the decision-making process for that individual doesn't seem to be very good. Now, back to the Second Amendment, what you're saying about...
Well, but the question is also, why is an American citizen now dead for the second time who was there to document, in this case, and clearly to be there as a bystander, which is his First Amendment right.
He wasn't there to clearly document anything. Don't socially engineer the topic, Dana. He was not there to document.
Appeared to be.
He came there for
That's
a reason.
fair. Appeared to be.
He obfuscated and delayed officers there on the scene. That's pretty evident to me.
I want to ask you about your agents. You said that this was a highly trained agent who had been serving on Border Patrol for 8 years. What was he trained for? Because these are your Border Patrol agents, and they're now in the interior of the country, in American cities. Was he trained in urban policing?
Yes, all of our Border Patrol agents are trained in for all types of environments, including urban policing. This particular Border Patrol agent had 8 years with some specific skill sets there with both firearms and less lethal munitions. Also, let's take a look at the training and the environments that Border Patrol agents operate in. We operate in places like San Diego, California, Tucson, Arizona, New Orleans. All those have Border Patrol sectors. Detroit, Michigan. We've got Border Patrol sectors in Buffalo. So this myth, and I saw this just last night on CNN, this myth that Border Patrol agents don't work in urban areas is just that.
To really unpack what we just witnessed, you have to understand, this was not a bad interview or a clumsy defense, but a federal commander laying out a terrifying standard for government power, as Greg Bovino was shown video evidence by Dana Bash, clearly contradicting his narrative, and instead of disputing the facts, he dismissed the footage itself, calling it freeze-frame adjudication, which is just a dressed-up way of saying do not trust your own eyes when they conflict with the state. And it gets worse because Bovino openly admitted the victim, Alex Pretti, had a legal right to carry a firearm, but then argued those rights vanished the moment he stood on a public street and questioned federal agents, which is the creation of a constitution-free zone where the First Amendment and Second Amendment only exist at the pleasure of law enforcement. And if video evidence, constitutional rights, and even a dead citizen can all be waved away as social engineering, then we are no longer talking about accountability. We are talking about power without limits. I want to hear your thoughts on this, so drop them in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe and check out the next one.